Practicing is your power center. It is your tool to achieve your goals. It is so important that this time is working for you and not against you, which is why it is so crucial to not get stuck in your practicing. Because let me tell you, that can be so frustrating. So today we are going to dive into 3 critical mindset shifts that boost that practice session so you can make it work for you and not against you. You ready? Let's get into it. Number 1, we got ditch that negative self-talk. You know that negative self-talk. It is so easy to get frustrated in practicing, and it is even easier to tend to blame ourselves. Then there's the spiral of self-doubt and feeling like you won't get better because you listen to that negative self-talk. Sound familiar? Well, I can tell you, it really doesn't work. Because if we think about it, all negative self-talk does is weaken the chances that we will progress during that practice session, as well as making us feel bad about ourselves. Let me think about that again, because it will weaken the chances that we will progress and make us feel bad about ourselves. That does not sound like an effective way to practice at all. It can start a negative feedback loop, which we know too well. So, ditch that negative self-talk. And I know it's easier said than done, but you are in this for you. So there is no point in bringing yourself down. As soon as you hear yourself talk negatively, stop yourself and say this to yourself. I am doing my best, and I am not going to talk to myself like that today. I'll give it to you again. I am doing my best, and I am not going to talk to myself like that today. Let's say it together, because you're going to be saying this. I am doing my best, and I am not going to talk to myself like that today. Because you are doing your best, and you deserve kind words. Now, you might be saying to me, Eleanor, how can I do my best? How am I doing my best when I am not doing as well as I did yesterday? Well, if you, let's say, had 100% to give yesterday, whatever that looks like, and you gave 100%, and say you have 80% today, and you gave 80% of energy, 80% of your mind power, whatever you have that day, and you give that 80%, all of that you have, because you have 80% and you give 80%, that is doing your best. If you have 50% and you give 50%, that is doing your best. So even if you had, say, 80% yesterday and now you have 60%, if you gave 60% today, you are still doing your best, and you deserve kind words. And even if you aren't doing your best, even if you have 60% and you're, giving 50%, you still deserve kind words. So ditch that negative self-talk and start speaking to yourself kindly. This is a practice. It is hard to do at the beginning, but it is a practice. And trust me, when it gets going, it's so beneficial. Number 2, when listening to recordings of yourself, think objectively, not emotionally. Let me say that again. When listening to recordings of yourself, think objectively, not emotionally. I got this tip from the wonderful Professor Titus Underwood from the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory. He is an amazing human being and an amazing teacher, and he emphasized the importance of listening to yourself, but listen carefully because this is important. Listening objectively, not emotionally. Now let me explain what I mean by that, because those are big words. It is so crucial in this process to separate your personal feelings with how you actually did in the recording. Pretend like this isn't your recording and analyze it without the emotional part. So let me give you an example. Say I just recorded myself playing, and I play it back and I say to myself, oh my gosh, These runs are not as fast as I want them to be. I practiced them yesterday. Why aren't they fast enough? Or, oh my gosh, my intonation is so bad today. I don't understand why I feel so bad. Do you hear all the emotions stuck inside of that? That is not what you want. You want to listen objectively. So instead of saying all those emotional things, you could say, my runs are not as even. I'm going to work on them. My intonation on the D flat is a little high. I'm going to remember to make sure that it's in tune. Do you hear emotion in that? No, it is all objective. That is so important because it helps you be more productive. When you listen to yourself, remember, think critically rather than emotionally. Us as musicians, we easily tend to listen to ourselves and get emotional and emotionally critical, but we need to objectively think about it. That is how we improve. So the next time you listen to a recording and you think to yourself, the runs are not as good, or the tempo is going fast and slow and it's not consistent, remember to not put emotion in there and to just think critically. Okay? Number 3, it is totally okay to take breaks and rest. You deserve it. Remember this, you are a human first and a musician second. Okay, let me say that again. You are a human first and a musician second. If you don't plan time to rest, your body will eventually force you to rest. I realized this so much this summer. I was working really hard. I was practicing a ton, and I was working on this podcast because, yes, even in the summer, I was working on the podcast. This has been a long time coming, and I'm so excited about it. But I was working a ton, and I wasn't letting myself rest. And because of that, I got migraines every single weekend. Literally every single Saturday. I did nothing because I was in pain, because I had migraines, because my headaches were so bad. That was my body forcing me to rest. And after a few weeks of these, I realized I am working too hard and I need to rest because this is my body making me rest and it's not pleasant. So remember that rest is so important. Now, when you're practicing, you need to focus, right? That is your focus time. But when you're resting, you need to rest. That is your resting time. And listen to your body, okay? If it's telling you to rest, then rest. And remember what actual rest is. If you are resting your body, but your mind is thinking about practicing, or your mind is thinking about deadlines, or your mind is thinking about whatever it is thinking about that has to do with music or practicing or work, that is not proper resting because your mind isn't resting. You have to have your body and your mind resting. And then that is proper, fulfilling rest. Okay? You got to do what you want to do during that resting time, whatever it is, hobbies, even sleeping, or going for a walk, but you got to rest both your mind and your body. Okay? So those were my 3 tips, and I am so grateful that you listened to the end. That was amazing. I am so grateful for that, and I'm so happy that you listened to this episode. So I am hoping that these mindset shifts will help you boost that practice session. Let me know what you thought of this podcast. I am so grateful that you listened to it. Bye!